ambitious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast, and we have a very eventful afternoon at New York Stadium to talk about a 2-2 draw at home to Stoke. It feels like there's about 1,500 talking points from the game. We'll pick out what we think are the sort of important ones, and then we've got a preview to do. Back to the hectic schedule. We've got a preview to do in a couple for the Huddersfield game on Thursday evening. Nobody likes a Thursday evening kickoff, but that's where we are. We've kept our lineup unchanged. Mick is back with us. How are you doing, Mick?
All good, mate. You?
Very good, thank you very much. Danny is back with us. Danny's been ill, so didn't go to the game, watch the game, obviously, I thought. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm doing a bit better. Still a little bit croaky, and I think I've got a cough that could stud a horse, but yeah, we're getting better. We can eat now, which is nice.
And we have Benjamin back with us. Ben, how has your Christmas been?
It's been alright, yeah.
Did you get any tangerines in your stocking?
No, I got pears.
I've got a pair. I've got a gift from somebody though.
I've arranged Ben the gift. Picked out the princess wrapping paper just for you.
Can I open it?
Yeah, go for it, mate. I think 2 days after Christmas is the perfect time to open a Christmas present.
Ha! Brilliant! That's brilliant.
A 4-pack of pears. Is it 4-pack of pears?
5.
5 pairs.
5
There
pairs. Thank
Two
you.
pairs of
Thank you.
pears.
I think you need to eat one live on.
Oh no, no! I don't like pears. No,
You
way.
don't like pears? You said the other day you did like pears.
I didn't.
Anyway,
We won't talk about fruit.
Yeah, so there you go, Ben. You never have to worry. You'll never know now. I'll never forget now. Pears go in stockings. Christmas stockings, I would say. Right, let's move on. Paul Brook has the first question. When was the instant reaction yesterday? Yes, we didn't do the instant reaction after the game because Danny has the equipment and we don't have a backup plan. Danny wasn't very well. That's our fault for poor planning, I suppose. We'll figure something out. Hopefully Danny's never ill again. That'll solve all the problems.
I mean, it feels like it's the first time I've been ill in about 4 years, but it's hit me like a freight train. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Right, so 2-2 draw, lots to pick from it, Mick. Let's pick up the only contentious decision that came early on in the game. Was the Tom Eaves yellow card, Mick. Get this out of the way, really. A lot of Stoke fans suggesting that Tom Eaves could have seen red straight away. What was your view on it? Did the referee get this one right?
At the time, I would have agreed. I thought he could have seen red. Having seen it back, I think he's unlucky to have seen yellow. And I think the only reason he's seeing yellow is because of the reaction of the Stoke City players. It looked from our angle, and I would argue probably, bearing in mind the referee's only got one angle and one opportunity to look at it, it probably looked like a yellow from the referee's position. But in reality, I think he was quite unlucky. But that's how it is. You know, the ref's got one chance to look at it, and you know he's made a decision. The behaviour of the Stoke City players was embarrassing, but that's just, you know, there were a number of occasions. Yeah, there were a number of occasions throughout the match where that was the case. So it's what you expect in the Championship, innit? So the problem with it was it put him on. It put a target on his back for the rest of the time he was on the pitch, didn't it? So it didn't help.
No, it didn't. Absolutely didn't. Let's go through the starting lineup. Danny, was a bit of a shake-up, bit of a change. Wes Harding changed from left-hand side of the back three to the right-hand side at wing-back, which brought Cameron Humphreys to the left-hand side of the back three, Richard Wood at the centre, which we'll go on to. And then it pushed I mentioned Tommy's yellow card before I even mentioned the fact he started, which was a surprise to most of us, Danny. We were happy before the game started. We were happy with the changes because it felt like something needed to change. I suppose it was a good change.
Yeah, I mean, at least we know that Matt Taylor now actually watches the podcast because we've been crying out for two up top for a few episodes now. Yeah, and I thought, yeah, I sort of agreed with Eves coming in. You know, you sort of had your fast man and your big man sort of thing. And it sort of played people in the positions that sort of accommodated each other. You know, he still kept a system that the players know what sort of suited the system Taylor's trying to play, even though the system he's trying to play makes our back line look shaky, which actually led to one of Stoke's goals. We'll come on to that in a minute. The only strange absentee I thought was Norton Cuffey. Now, I thought it may have been ill to begin with, but turned out he was just not picked, which is okay, fair enough. Maybe he wanted a bit more a defensive head, and that's why I had Wes at wing back and not the more attacking minded Cuffey. One surprise inclusion for me was Robbie Hemfrey on the bench. I don't quite know what's happened with Vickers, but he's not there. Same with Scott High. So all the conspiracy theorists in the comments, they can run riot with that one now that we're so close to January. But yeah, nice to see Hemfrey in a starting 18.
I think it's the first time, weren't it?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. The Josh Vickers appears to have a shoulder injury. Matt Taylor said in the post match it's just quite a serious injury, which is a blow for Josh Vickers. Obviously, he's second choice, so as long as Victor doesn't get injured, that all should be fine. Obviously, it's a blow for Josh Vickers, who does seem to be injury prone, unfortunately. But we'll see how that goes. We'll get this by the way. Zara Skidmore says the supporters in the family stand yesterday were a disgrace, let the team down. She's referring to the far end next to the Stoke fans. You probably won't see us in the video after of the guy tumbling down the rows. But yeah, there was a lot of issues with Stoke fans getting through to the Rotherham fans and vice versa. The club supposedly paid quite a lot of money for some new netting, which did absolutely nothing. It was no different to the Swansea game. I think the Watford game, there was some issues. I don't know what the net was supposed to have done, but it didn't do anything. I don't know what they can do, whether they need to reduce ticketing numbers in the away end so there's a bigger gap, or something. Make this as something that you have, I don't know, knowledge of back in the day. But it was just chaos again. We'll cover it briefly.
Yeah, there's not a lot of point covering it in too much depth, is it? I mean, there is another radical solution to this, and I know it's a bit out there, but people could just behave themselves. You know, I mean, it is radical, probably a bit too much for some people. Listen, if it's difficult because you know if you've gone there to be involved in that sort of stuff, then you deserve to come away from it injured. But the issue is what it does to other people. You know, there's young kids. It's a family stand. There's young kids in there who are going to be frightened to death. They've never seen anything like that before, and they shouldn't have to. They should not have to put up with it. None of us should have to put up with it. You know, I hate it. I hate that sort of behaviour, and the people that get involved in it are just scum, aren't they? They really are just scum of the earth. And if listen, you know, if they're identified and banned, don't be banging on social media about what a disgrace it is. You know what I mean? Get them out, get them banned, get them out of football because they don't deserve to be part of any football club. None of them. It's just embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. And these same people will be laughing and joking about it. And it's just, I can't get my head around it. It's just an embarrassment.
It were a block or two. We sit in the family stand, block or two away from us. But I go with a 7-year-old, and it's the first thing she talked about after the game, and she's mentioned it 5 or 6 times after that they were fighting at the game and things like that. It's just don't be idiots and swore then. Don't be an idiot. It's not a good football game to start a fight. You are an idiot if you do that. You two want to add on that before we move on? Because it is an issue the club do need to deal with. This is 3 separate occasions this season, Swansea, Watford, and now this one. That's just off the top of my head. It's an issue that needs sorting out, not just buying a new netting which doesn't work.
It's not a Rotherham United issue, is it?
Well, it's at our ground, so it is.
Well, this specific incident's a Rotherham United issue, but it
Oh, you
happens
mean a general?
weekend after weekend after weekend. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to choose my words carefully and struggling a little bit. You know, some of these knobheads, they just cannot be allowed inside football grounds.
That's an explicit warning going on this episode.
Apologies. I apologise if I've offended anybody.
But I agree.
Here's one possible solution. I don't quite know how you'd enforce it, but it's an interesting idea. You know how there's a breathalyzer limit for when you're driving cars if you've had a drink.
Oh,
right?
Can you imagine?
Exactly. I don't know how you do it, but you have to blow under a certain amount to get into an away end.
How dare you?
Exactly. Or you're just not allowed to serve alcohol in away ends.
Yeah.
So then that would just encourage people to drink more on buses, i.e. where the breathalyzer idea comes from. Imagine trying to breathalyze 2,800 people. That'd be hilarious. I'd love to see someone try and work out the logistics for that.
There's some football clubs can't even check tickets of people coming in time to get them in time. And so rest of it, you know what I mean? And I don't know how you dare suggest infringing on somebody's civil liberties like that. That's outrageous, man.
Moving on.
Yeah,
we'll see what comes of that. I suspect nothing. Moving on to the football, Ben. The first half compared to the second half was relatively uneventful. It was an improvement. We'll talk about the goal in a minute. Our goal in the first half. It was an improvement on West Brom the first half, but there's still defensive issues. If we played a team who knew how to hit back at net without a helping hand, we'd have been in bother in the first half. We're cut through a couple of times, I thought.
Yeah, it'd have been, I think, 4-1, 5-1 if we were actually playing a decent squad. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just not good defensively. It's just not good enough. We're relying on Victor way too much. I think if we didn't have Victor in net, I think we'd probably not only lost that game, but a couple others this season as well. And it just, for me, it starts from not pressing. It starts from allowing teams to just pass the ball straight through you. And we haven't got the quality to go man to man with every single team in this division. Like, you have to out strategize them in one way or another, and not pressing does not help that at all. It's just not good. The one thing that you can't do in sports is just not be good defensively, because you'll find ways to score. You'll get scrappy goals, or you'll score from set pieces, or one bit of magic from a player, but you've got to be able to defend consistently, and we just haven't been doing that since somebody left.
Yeah, do you want to start? I did a start. In the first 9 games of the season, which was up until the change in management, we conceded 6 goals in 9 games. We've conceded 9 in the last 4 games. There's a defensive issue, Danny. We'll come on to the specific goals in a minute, but there's different views on Twitter. Some people don't think we defended too badly. I'm in the camp where I think for 3 games in a row we've defended poorly. Sometimes in football I feel like I have to forget about the goals and look at how you've played defensively. We allowed them far too many opportunities, and we've tried 3 different defenders. We've tried different wing back. These issues are still coming through. Is it not a defensive issue? Is Ben right? Is it start from the front and we're allowing them too much time on the ball? Is it a midfield issue where they're not doing their defensive jobs properly? They're concentrating on changing the way they're using the ball when they have it. It's an issue that needs sorting out quickly because we're conceding too many goals.
Yeah, I think we are. But at the same time, I'd be interested to know what Derby's stats were like before I had to change manager, and Exeter's as well, because my mate Uni was an Exeter fan. They have conceded a lot of goals since Taylor came to us, and they are now just starting to recover, shall we say. And I think it is the implementation of a new system. I think Taylor's looked at it and gone, right, these are the players that we've got. We're going to try and do it this way. with the players we've got, and like we sort of played a hybrid system for a little bit, and yeah, fair enough, it did pick up results. But Taylor is a man who wants to put his own system into play and effectively play what he knows and what he is really good at. And he started doing that now, which is a little bit more standoffish, not quite as high pressing. It's because I watched the Derby against Bolton game today, and Derby are effectively playing the exact same way we played at the start of this season. However, even for them, it's not fruitful because they don't have the players to implement it 100% efficiently. And I think Taylor's now going, right, we've had our little break, we've tried to put it into the players, and now in the practical sense, we are still conceding goals. There's no doubt about that. We've conceded, what is it now? 8 in our last 3 games, is it? Yeah, 8 goals in the last 3 games. Yeah, and I think it's because we're looking at a more possession-based football, which is what Taylor played at Exeter. Now, unfortunately, we don't have possession-based centre-backs at the minute. We have more of your leave it to the men up the front and we'll defend when we have to sort of centre-backs. And that might be something Taylor looks at in January, which is very, very close at the minute. And I'm sure he's got the plans in place to look at it as well, because I think our only ball-carrying centre-half really is Cameron Humphreys. And he's only really just getting a run out now, isn't he? So, I'm not worried because it's a transition period. I'm just worried that it's now happened 3 games in a row where it's all come back saying we've defended really poorly and the players haven't tried to improve it either. That's the bit that concerns me. I still think we'll be all right, if I'm being completely honest. We'll be all right. We've got the quality in our team and I think the managers to do it. But it's going to be a very big January now. And the news that we've heard about Ben Wiles, it's also sounded like a blessing and a curse for Ben with that, which we'll come on to in a little bit, I'm sure. I can see why people are frustrated because it's the same reason I'm frustrated. It's the same reason I walked out after 70 minutes at West Brom because it was dire, right? But at the same time, thinking about it from a football manager's point of view, I'm sure Matt Taylor's just as frustrated as well, if not more, because he's trying to put that system in and it's not working. Or at least it's not working at the minute, or it's not working as efficiently as he wants it to. Because we can still sort of score goals, fair enough. It's just about not making the silly mistakes when you come up against a team who can only just about finish the Christmas dinner, which is what we saw against Stoke. From what I heard from Matt Goodwin anyway, it sounded like Stoke were at our end and firing. Victor made some good saves, but they couldn't actually finish unless it was a mistake from Woody or an own goal. So
we'll come on to the goals. We'll start with the positives. Let's do our goals first, and then move on to again more defensive issues. Are you giving Wes the first one to Christmas? Give him the first goal.
100%. It's Wes's goal. Christmas or not, it's Wes's goal. That.
Oh, Ben's pulling his face. Does Ben not agree with that?
But the fact that it's Wes's goal?
Yeah.
Not really.
You don't think it's Wes's?
Listen, he's done all he could possibly have done there. It's Wes's goal, mate.
It's not Wes's goal.
But the credit really goes to Peltier for the ball inside, which I thought was beautiful. And it's just those moments of quality open the game up. Yeah, there's a bit of luck involved, but the build-up was very, very nice, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was. I can see what we're trying to do, and that is the kind of move that we're trying to pull off, and it's great when it comes off. It's great, and we got what we deserved. I think probably just about on the balance of it to get the goal from it. But yeah, I love the little ball inside. Nice run from Wes, and he just puts the ball in the mixer, and it happens to go in. So I'm not saying he meant to score, but nevertheless he did.
Yeah. And the second goal, Ben, Connor Washington came off the bench. I'll talk about Tommy Eaves in a minute, but we started putting balls in box when Tommy Eaves come off. And unsurprisingly, it started causing them problems. But again, this deserves a bit of credit for Chio because the ball in from Chio was really, really good. It's quite a short space for the cross, but I thought he put the cross in really well. And Washington right place, right time.
Yeah, a good pass from Rathbone as well to disguise that ball into Chio, and then Chio across for Washington. I guess that could be classed as your possession football, but I don't know. Still don't like possession football.
You're really struggling with this new style of football, aren't you, Ben?
I don't like it. We made fun of it when we didn't play it because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Unless you've got Guardiola's or Bielsa's manager or Messi or Iniesta playing in your team, it does not work. No one can tell me otherwise. I stand by it.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think I said to you, either you guys yesterday or somebody else, that when we were playing MK Dons or teams like that who tried to play football, I were licking his lips, weren't we? How many times last year did we go, "Oh, you're playing out front back, brilliant," and now we're trying to do that, and we're laughing at ourselves potentially, but it might work. You know what I mean?
It won't work.
It won't work. It won't work. Bielsa struggled to do it with the Leeds, so.
Although the sticking point seems to be playing it out from the back, you can still play possession-based football without playing it out from the back. You just have to have very good ball retention in midfield and you're attacking third, and have a goalkeeper who can kick in a straight line. I'm sorry, Victor, that's really hard, but it's true. We love you and everything, but good grief.
Nick, why is it not going to work?
Because we haven't got the players for it. Nobody in this division has got the players for it. Nobody. Swansea are a prime example of it. Who love this knocking it about, tiki-taka football, knocking it about all over the pitch. Where are they sitting? Swansea at a minute, halfway, at best halfway, probably less, because there's no end product. We do not have the players for it. No club in the Championship has the players that are capable of doing it effectively as a sole style of football, if you like. There has to be far more to it. There has to be more to it. We just can't do it. You can't be as passive out of possession as we are, and then when you do get possession of it, you're trying something completely brand new, but we're not putting any pressure, at all on the opposition when they're in possession. It's got to be a combination of a number of styles, dependent on whether you're in possession, out of possession, or what. But we just sit back. We allow the opposition, when they've got the ball, we allow them the whole of their own half. We allow them all the time in the world on the ball, because it doesn't work, this possession-based football, because very few players, let alone no team as a whole, have got the ability to play. If you put them under pressure, they are going to make mistakes. We proved that at the beginning of this season. We were sitting 8th in the league, and it wasn't by mistake. It was because we were putting these possession-based teams under pressure, and they made mistakes because they're not good enough to do it. They just can't do it. And we are now in the same boat, whereby if we get a team that presses us, we're in major trouble. We're in major trouble because we cannot play that game. We haven't got the players to do it. Like I said, just like everybody else, we can't be a one-trick pony like the likes of Swansea and whoever else you want to discuss who play this style of football, because that's what they become. They become a one-trick pony. Let's play it about, and we might score. But as soon as somebody gets in the face, they struggle. As we proved beginning of the season. Now, what we're not doing is getting in people's faces, and as a consequence of that, we're struggling. That's how I view it. But I agree with Ben. We can't do it because we ain't got the players.
Phil actually says, "Let's go back to the show. We will just go back to the way we were before, when it took 2 seasons to win one away game."
That's not what I'm saying.
but
not what I'm saying.
The issue comes, and Dan, I'll come to this one, is that Matt Taylor suggested when he came in there was no need for route and everything else change. It just needs to be a progression. We're not seeing a progression. What we're seeing is a change. We're seeing a root branch change of the way we're playing, and it feels completely different. It may work, and I'm not I'm not necessarily with Mick and Ben. I think that it could work to an extent, but I'm not seeing a gradual change. I don't think we're seeing players play to their strengths, which is what I think we should be doing. But again, it may work, I suppose. I don't know. It may just take time.
He may put. He talks to Danny then. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get that angle.
You talk because I'm just banging on.
I was enjoying not talking, to be fair. But before I answer, can anybody else hear like that strange noise that keeps happening when people talk? It feels like someone's like in the room having a conversation with you, mate. I don't know. I could just hear like it's like someone's talking in the background, like an old cartoon where they're just talking in the background, and all you can hear is them just rabbiting on. Anyway, I don't know what it is, but I actually think it's quite funny. But anyway, I think what Taylor said when he came in, I think well within your right to interpret it how you have, Matt. But the way I interpreted it was that he's not come in and just gone, right, we're not playing that way anymore. We're going to play this way. He has still transitioned it slightly. You know, I think what he meant, like, it's again open to interpretation, but what he meant was when he's coming, he's not just completely torn up our ethos and gone, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to do it my way. He still had that little transitional periods where we've gone from playing that way to the other way. I think now we are seeing more of the Taylor ball rather than the other guy's ball. And it's sort of coming together nicely where we're getting January on the horizon, so he can bring in players to what is it going to be effectively plugging holes, I think, until he can really get a summer behind him. Because we have to remember Taylor came in at a very, very strange time because it was October-ish time?
October, wasn't it?
Yeah, end of September-ish time. So that's a very, very strange time for a manager to change jobs because he's just missed summer and there's a long time until January. So I think he has had that little transitional where, like I said, he played that little hybrid system, which, fair enough, did work at times. Whereas now we're going into the more fully transitional period, and I think the actual transition will happen when he gets the players that he wants, or should I say, if he gets the players that he wants, because I think there could be between 4 to 6 players that we could bring in to really see Taylor ball come out. It's a very, very strange time, and it's actually happening in a time where we could have done without it. I think, because like I say, Mick, completely right. The way we were pressing teams showed that possession-based football didn't work for those teams, and we saw how we could exploit it. But in ideal terms, we should have carried on with that, seen out this season, and then gone again, if that makes sense. But we don't live in a perfect world, so it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, very big January coming up. And I just hope that it's not the ghost of Christmas past that's come behind me, according to Simon Thorne. Have I got a ghost behind me? Or is it just me who looks a bit pale? That's the question.
Go on, mate, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I know I was really negative, and I don't want to. My issue is not necessarily the way that we play when we've got the ball. My issue is the way we're playing when we've not got the ball, when we're out of possession. I just think we're rolling over and we're allowing teams to play through us instead of putting them under pressure. And I would love a combination of both. If you can get a combination of high energy, high press when you're out of possession, but playing football when you've got the ball, absolutely bang on. That's exactly what you need. The likes of Swansea and all that, they don't do the high press. They're not interested in any of that. All they're interested in is keeping ball and having 8,762 completed passes in a game. That's a win for them. It's the out of possession stuff that I've got the issue with, because what that does is exposes our weaknesses at the back. You know, it allows teams to play through us easier, I think, than it does when we're pressing, which I guess is a bit. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but that's what's happened. Because when we were playing that high press, even though teams were trying to play through us, our defence, the same defence that we're talking about here, were one of the best in division. So there's something, for me, that's the issue. Out of possession, the way we're playing out of possession.
Yeah. A few comments. Sam Hadfield said we've changed a lot. However, Tony Stewart has thrown the previous manager and Taylor under the bus. Our strike force to start the season with Eves Kelly and Washington. Yeah. Let's move on to Richard Wood. This has been another hot topic. Let's talk about the goal first, Ben. It's obviously his fault. He's made a catastrophic mistake, which has cost us a goal. But it's just one of those things. Defenders are going to make mistakes. Goalkeepers are going to make mistakes. Obviously, this wasn't Victor's mistake as much as Woody tried to blame him. This wasn't Victor's mistake. The goal itself, Ben, he's got to do better, obviously.
Yeah. There were a couple of times as well where he's coming down line and he lets it run. Lets it go back 5-10 yards and then puts it out of play. He just didn't seem like himself. Instead of putting it out of play straight away, kind of let it run past him and then put it out of play. Do you know what I mean? It was just, that goal though, for me, it's one of them things that happened, but it was probably just justice because they deserved the goal. They had so many chances that, that even if they don't score that goal, if we play a decent team, they've already scored. You know what I mean? So it kind of cancels itself out. So it is what it is. It happens. Just move on.
Would you just talk about his overall performance, Ben? To me, it was in line with everybody else. I don't think it was better or worse than anybody else, to be honest.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't better or worse than anyone else. But I don't know. I don't know because he got left out of the team. When was it?
Left out of the squad last week.
Left out of the squad. Norton Cuffy got left out of the squad again this week. The selection's baffling, but it is what it is, isn't it? Can't control it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know because it's a question only Richard Wood will be able to answer. But I wonder how much more difficult or easy it is to drop in and out of the team at 37-year-old. Because when you're 24, you can just your body's used to it. You're all right. We'll go again. When you come in at the back end of your career, and he needs to play games, it feels like, and I don't feel. We've all seen Richard Wood for 9 years now, 9 seasons. And I will tell you, the thing about Richard Wood is he needs to play games. When he comes back into a team, his first and second game back are often a bit off. And then he gets back into his stride again. But that's a problem because Matt Taylor seems insistent not playing him in consecutive games. He won't play on Thursday. We'll come on to that in a minute. He won't play on Thursday because it's too short a gap. So how is that going to work for Richard Wood? Because he needs to be playing those games. He's shown them before he can do it at this age. He's done it this season, hasn't he?
It's not going to work for him, is it? It's just as simple as that. It's just not going to work. So it may be, as we said, for the last 9 years, Richard Wood's last season. Taking him in and out is not going to do him any good because his form's going to drop. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. What I would say is, and correct me if I'm wrong, have we at any stage this season played with the same back five?
I would have to check that, but I doubt it.
I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember a game or 2 games on the trot where we've had the same back five. That can't be good. Certainly the back three, that cannot be good. Because they need to form a partnership, and it's important that they work together regularly. But yeah, it's a tough one because Woody's been a fantastic servant, and I'm not sort of writing him off just because they made one mistake that cost us a goal. I mean, they nearly missed that. He tried as hard as he could to miss it, didn't he? You know what I mean? It's only because it was 3 inches out that he managed to get it in back at net. So it's not helping him, is it? It's not going to help him playing 1 week, missing a week, playing another week. It needs, like you said, quite rightly said, regular games.
And Danny, do you think that Richard was one of those guys that you can just sort of say, just go and play because he's old enough, he's experienced enough, and again, I'm trying not to criticise Matt Taylor, but for me, give him the games. He's going to make mistakes.
Probably not, no. I really don't think so. Which is a shame because we've seen what Woody is capable of at this age, like you say, when he does get the run of games. But I honestly think it's not Taylor palling him out. I think it's Taylor basically saying to Woody, you are the older one in the team, and Woody is already moving towards his coaching badges, isn't he? So it might be a bit of that. You know, I mean, to be fair, Woody's never really looked the same since he took over as caretaker. I know that sounds weird, but to me, he's not really been the Woody that we know since he became caretaker. Maybe that's because he's had the little dabble at management. I don't know.
Or because he's the manager, or he was
exactly. So it's an odd case with Woody because, excusing the mistake, he was still okay. He didn't make any other dramatic errors, as far as I'm aware. He never really made any dramatic errors in any other games that he's been in. It's just, again, one of them things where, very unfortunately, he's led to a goal and he's made himself out to be a bit silly. And so, but those things happen. You know, it's human nature. We make mistakes, isn't it? But I really don't know with Woody. It's a very strange case. Like you say, I don't think he's going to play Thursday either. But then will he play New Year's Day? You know, and it works on that sort of cycle. I'm really not sure. Woody is very much an ideal captain in the dressing room. I've said it before. He's a bit like a Billy Sharp character in that sense. You know, he's still the captain, whether it's in the dressing room or on the pitch. It's just that maybe he gets deployed as the captain in the dressing room for second halves, where it can get the team rallied up and ready, and maybe see out a fixture or 2. You know, I'm not sure. It's entirely within the club's bubble that I'd personally like to see him on the pitch, having the support around him, because he is still a very, very capable defender. He gets old-manned at times, fair enough. But if you've got Woody in the middle and the 2 players around him that can accommodate that, it's still a very solid back line. It's just unfortunate. Exactly. It's just that we haven't seen it enough. And it's like, is that time slowly going out the window now? I hope it isn't. But, you know, writing's there, isn't it? Which is such a shame to say.
He needs mobility alongside him, and Peltier's not got the mobility to cover Woody's lack of. Peltier's a fine player, but he hasn't got the mobility to cover what Woody lacks from that side of the game. Carl Scott said we should be playing McCart and Humphreys at the back against Huddersfield. Peltier and Woody don't work together. Yeah, I agree. I don't worry this is the end of Richard Wood for us. I am genuine. And I don't think it should be. I think he's still got a lot to offer. I don't get him not playing more than he already is. It's baffling to me, to be honest.
Just with the whole Peltz and Woody don't work together. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they do work together. But both of them work when they've got Grant Hall next to him. You know, because Grant Hall works with Woody and he works with Peltz, but Woody and Peltz don't work together. Same with McCart. Even when Hall's there, it works. So maybe the missing piece is Grant Hall, which is, again, a shame that we haven't seen him again yet. It's a muscle tear, isn't it?
Yeah, at least a month, yeah.
Yeah, which is a shame, because I think Grant Hall could be one of the missing pieces for that defence. Because whenever he's played next to Woody or Peltz or whoever, we've looked solid. And without him, it's a bit... I think the only exception is probably Sheffield United, where everybody just played a blinder. We've looked a little bit wobbly. So it's a bit... Come on, isn't there like some sort of miracle cream, or can we get John Breckin's magic sponge out again and magically heal Grant Hall? And that same sponge used to drink from. That's a callback to the first Legends now, if anyone remembers.
Simon Thorne, this is something that wasn't picked up by many. Billy Peltier needs to work and deal with his frustration. He's stamped on the Stoke player in the second half. Now, again, I have not seen any of this mentioned anywhere, but he stamped about 3 times on Liam Delap. I think it was Delap anyway. It wasn't even slight. Lino should have seen it. He is very lucky. I haven't had a chance to look back at the iFollow to see if there's footage of it, but he's a lucky boy because he stamped on him. He didn't just do it once. He went back for a second and third bite at him.
Yeah, he did. He did. I mean, the tackle by Delap were a shocker.
It was a late one, wasn't it?
Incredibly late, yeah. And to be fair to Peltier, he was always going to be safe with that linesman because they'd only been on floor for 10 minutes. Linesman hadn't even got time to get close to him. So, he weren't anywhere near. But yeah, I'm amazed the type of player that Delap is that he didn't make more of it.
Yeah,
Can't believe it. I would have expected, bearing in mind his antics for the rest of the game, that he would have been rolling around and screaming like a baby for 10 minutes after that. But he just seemed to get on with it, didn't
he? Yeah. Paul Armin says maybe on relation to Woody, maybe not at championship level. I'm still convinced he offers enough.
He's proved time and again that he is.
Yeah. He's not become a bad player since September.
No, he hasn't. And then let's put this into some sort of perspective here. What we're talking about here is one mistake in reality. Yeah. One mistake, one short back pass. So
yeah, it needs changing. I would be. I don't know what you do. I agree with the Woody Peltier. I don't like it, but Peltier seems to be one of the players that Matt Taylor's leaning on quite heavily. Don't know. Shelley IFC says, would any of you switch to 4 at the back? I'll come to you on this one, Ben. Do you think there's any suggestion for a change in formation? I personally don't think it suits the players we've got, but that doesn't seem to matter.
No, it don't. It doesn't suit players we've got, but not personally don't suit players we've got. So I don't know anymore. I don't know. If it means we can defend better, then yeah, go to a back 4. But we haven't got the players for back 4. Realistically, we haven't got a left back. We wouldn't count Fergie as a left back.
Bowler can't stay fit.
Yeah. I won't go to a back 4. I'd stay as a 5 at back.
Yeah. Stephen Thomas says Derby seem to play in 4 at back. They do. We played 3 at back for a long time to accommodate Richard Wood because it works, and there's no sign it's other than he isn't the problem for me. The whole setup is the problem, like Mick's mentioned earlier. I don't see the problem with the formation. I think it helps us in certain areas. It helped us on Saturday because we're Monday. 3 midfield worked. The wing-back situation, it worked. The problem was defensively. And I don't think... And it has worked previously with 3 at the back, so it can work again with 3 at the back. We don't just, it's not working, let's just go back to basics. 4-4-2, everyone knows how to do that. There's no need. Let's go back. Let's try and find a way to work the way it was. Certainly defensively, anyway. Kim Hayward. What about poor Victor? They were shocking against him. I can't believe none of their players got booked for the afters on Victor. They were like 3 or 4. It took some rate hammer.
Yeah, shocking. The ref was just embarrassing in that respect. Gave him no protection whatsoever. The one in the first half where Victor was taken out in midair, totally cleaned out in midair when he had the ball. I mean, it weren't even as though it were a challenge for the ball, and there was no punishment given at all. I don't even think he gave a foul. I might be wrong. I don't know, but yeah, he didn't get any protection at all from the ref. None at all.
No, I didn't. Anything else on the ref, Mick? Inconsistent?
As usual. Yeah, pretty much. Just inconsistent. But there's no point banging on about it, is there?
No. There's a new man in charge of the PGMOL as of now. So who knows?
Oh, is there?
Future, yeah.
All right. I think I knew new person in charge.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. First day in charge on Buzz was the box, Dave Howard Webb. So hopefully we see it. It's not really for us. It's not going to be instant improvement. I think VIR will probably improve, but that's not hard from where it was.
That's a very low bar, that, isn't it? In fact, I don't think there's even a bar in place for that. Yeah, is there?
I mean, we've already heard the extent of the job that's up against Howard Webb with that, because the rules that were in the which were in the World Cup, which to be fair I agreed with, because all time wasting got added on, and that's why we saw insane times added on. That rule has been rejected by the Premier League by saying it's too hard to enforce, and it's like. That is what we're facing with the inconsistency with referees, because even though the Premier League's rejected it, the EFL could still accept it. And with a little bit of elbow nudging, you never know. But because the EFL is the Premier League's lackey, they're going to just go, yeah, we're not going to have it. We're just going to still have 4 minutes at a time unless there's a player sparked out on floor.
But bearing in mind then that if the Premier League are allowed to reject that, maybe we should, as the EFL, should be rejecting this ridiculous situation where the linesman don't put his flag up until somebody's injured in penalty area, despite him being 20 yards offside.
Which got Victor injured yesterday.
Which got Victor he got him into a position where he could have been injured. And we continue to do this, and it's just utterly farcical. And I honestly, I don't understand why we have to put up with this. But again, there you go. We're banging on about something that's not really relevant, are we? You know,
let's move on.
They're not going to impose the same rules that were imposed in the World Cup, which worked. I mean, you've only got to ask Sheffield United, haven't you, about that? You know, we're going to stamp down on pushing and shoving in penalty area. The Sheffield United player literally had his shirt taken off him. He had his shirt pulled off his back, over his head, and down his arms, right in front of the referee, and there's no penalty given. So it's not going to happen, is it?
It's not. We'll see. Couple of the points. Ben Wiles came off injured. We don't know the extent of the injury. I think they're expecting. I think it's a scan today. What are we on? Tuesday. I think he's had a scan today. I suspect we'll find out we as fans will find out results on the pre-match press conference, which you would assume is tomorrow or Wednesday. There's obviously nothing confirmed about that, and we'll see how it goes. Getting stretched off is never a good sign.
No.
I'm sure if you ask Ben, there's probably something Wiles could have done to prevent like training his ankle better, or I don't know. We'll find out what the injury is before Ben properly criticises.
I think he'll be all right, because he says he heard a crack when he went down. I hear a crack when I get out of bed in the morning, and my ankle's cracked, so he'll be all right. I say that, and he's probably broken one of major ligaments in his ankle or something, and that's him out for the season. But yeah, Wessing under curse, because if he's out for the season, no one will come for him in January, and he'll probably sign that extension on his contract. But also, no Ben Wiles in midfield for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we'll see how it comes out. Well, when we get confirmation, it's certainly going to hurt his chances of leaving in January. Whatever the situation, if it's 4 games out, that's going to hurt his chances of a potential. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail as and when we get the results as fans, which again we'll probably talk about in the next episode. Ben, talk about Tom Eaves, because again, the man that often comes in for a amount of criticism came in for a bit of praise for the most part from I've seen on social media. What were your thoughts on Tom Eaves? Not only his performance and how he did, but also how it helped Chio. Because I think it helped Chio have a bit more freedom in the front line as well.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he wanted it yesterday. He was going after everything, putting in challenges, not backing down. I think his touch and his hold up play can do with a lot of work. But you know, to be honest, when I think back at it, I mean, the times that he lost possession was because everyone else was jogging. People were walking about the pitch and not making movement. That's kind of why I lost possession. But he played well. He's not my player. He's not my kind of player. He does a job. But if he can win an header and free up Chio, then get him in the squad.
But yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree. I thought the fact that helped Chio was helped Chio.
What were you going to say? Were you going to compare him to Smith?
I was going to say, what kind of player do you want? Because he's the closest thing to Smith we've got at the club, isn't he, really?
Yeah, but he's not Smith, though, is he?
No, he's not Michael Smith. Michael Smith is one of the best. What Michael Smith does is one of the best in the Football League, the Man League One. So it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's that then.
That's that. Yeah. What player do you want, Ben? Is you want my
What's my kind of player? Like
Yeah,
my
what-
player?
Yeah.
Well, top.
Yeah.
Washington. Without a doubt.
But the problem with Washington, they ain't got the physicality.
No, but if you're going to press, which you should, Washington's your man for it. But, we've now got a wasted striker at the club because we're not going to press.
Fair enough. Stephen Thomas says there were no crosses into the box to utilise Eves. There were crosses into the box after Eves went off. Eves went off, and within 2 or 3 minutes, Dan Barlas had put a beautiful ball into the box, and there was nobody there. Is somebody beeping, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, I can as well. I'm looking around the room to see whether it's
I
somebody
don't
else.
know what that is. It might be something to do with the washing machine. I'm not sure.
Okay. Apologies for the beeping.
1 minute, I'll go and have a look.
It does seem to have stopped. Nowadays, he's muted his mic, so it could be. Yeah. Phil Oxley says, I think his attitude seemed a lot better, but we still can't see in good double figures for the season. No, but if you're not going to put crosses in, Mick, till his left pitch, what do you expect? You know what I mean? I don't recall a good cross whilst Tom Eves were on the pitch.
There weren't
So,
one. That's
what are
why
you
you
gonna
don't call it. There weren't enough. There weren't enough balls into the box. So therefore he's not gonna get much joy in that respect, is he? I thought he did really well yesterday, holding the ball up. A couple of times I think he held on to it for too long, but as Ben said, I think that was possibly more to do with lack of options than anything else. But he's got something to offer for us. I mean, there's a time and a place for players of Tom Eves' style. But while we're not putting balls in the box, that's not the time and the place. We need to be servicing him and Chio better than we are doing. So, but I thought he did really well.
Yeah, he would need something alongside him, and as we've been saying for weeks, you put Chio out wide or you give him something to help him.
He needs some game time, Eves, doesn't he? He's similar to Richard Wood in that respect, I suspect. He's going to take a little bit of time to bed himself in, so he needs game time.
Yeah, I agree. Shelley IOC says Bramall's been off it a few games lately. I tried Kyoso on Thursday and let him get some game time. Can't get any worse. Yeah, I think I mentioned this on the West Brom podcast. I feel the same about Colin Bramall as I did then. I'm really frustrated with him. He's lazy at times where he can get back into position. He's got so much good stuff, Danny. He's got so much to his game that is a positive. I mean, there was a chance in the first half where he had a chance to cross the ball in, and it just rolled out for a goal kick because he just didn't take the opportunity and just didn't use his brain. He just has brain farts far too much time, and his pace gets him out of quite a lot of problems he gets himself into, and I find it a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, with Bramall, it almost feels like he's not found his middle ground yet. He's either really, really good or just not good, and I think utilising it as a championship football, you need to find that middle ground and then be consistent with it, which, of course, will come with time. But, yeah, like you say, I heard the thing about, he's made a darting run down the left-hand side. And the ball's gone out of play. It's like, well, how's that happened then? Where's cross coming? So yeah, I was frustrated just hearing that whilst I was flaked out on the settee like some sort of dead fish. But yeah, again, we've seen it before. It just needs to apply it a little bit better, and even if it's just a no-look cross, just digging out a cross into the box will still cause
when you got Eves in box.
Yeah, exactly. It'll still cause some sort of problem, or even if they don't get the ball into the box with Eves on and it's headed away, you'll still have your likes of Washington or Chio or Barlas to recycle it. So yeah, Cohen just needs to apply himself just a little bit more, in my opinion. And yes, it was the washing machine. It was a blocked filter. That's why it was built in.
There you go.
Whoops. That's me getting the pliers out in a bit. Oh dear.
Midfield didn't quite work. We've done 55 minutes. We haven't talked about the Huddersfield game, but Ben, just briefly, the midfield didn't quite work in terms of ball utilisation. Barlas had an off day, but we maybe can forgive him that because he's been so good in other games. But he were well off it, I thought, Barlas. So.
Yeah, it were off it because he's not didn't get the help that he he needed, we had Rathbone and Lindsay in midfield, and we're not pressing. For me, that's, you basically got one person in midfield now, which is Barlasser, who has to do it all by himself. Rathbone can play a pass and Lindsay can. He's a professional footballer who's playing central mid, but that's not what they do. Do you know what I mean? And I think trying to play possession with that midfield, it is not going to end well because Barlas is the only real one in the team who can ping it.
The question is,
I don't think it was his fault that he played badly.
If Barlasser does get injured and we sell Barlasser.
If Barlasser gets injured, then we
what next?
Might as well forfeit every single game because there's no hope.
Don't be too dramatic, Ben. I think you can.
Well, yeah. No, it wasn't a serious comment for anyone.
No. A couple of comments. Shelley IFC and Stephen Thomas basically the same thing, that they think Barlasser's head potentially elsewhere.
Yeah, when there's a reason for that. Because and I said this when somebody left. When that person left, there was going to be a lot of players leaving at the end of this season. Barlas will be one of them. Chio will be one of them. And Wiles would have been one of them. But he's now injured. So he won't go in January. We're going to lose a lot of players, and I think that's going to be a harsh rally.
But it might be a good thing if we can fork in £3 million in January. If we can fork in £3 million in January, and Matt Taylor's allowed to spend the money, then it might work for Matt Taylor's benefit because he can bring in the players he wants to bring in. I'm going into an ideal world here, obviously.
Was he going to bring in Iniesta?
I don't know. I'm trying to put a positive spin on things.
If you can bring De Bruyne in, then yeah, I'll allow this possession football. But if not, I don't think it's going to work.
We might get him for a month's loan for £3 million.
What, like that non-league team did with Ireland?
Yeah. Mike Miller says, go on.
Iniesta's not playing at any level at the moment, so he'd be quite happy to step up for another season.
I'm pretty sure he's playing.
He is playing, but he's in a Spanish third division.
I thought he was retired. Anyway.
Nah, he's playing at some low level. But
bring him across.
Mike Miller says, let's face it, we're conceding too many, not creating enough to put teams under pressure, confused tactics, players lacking form, crowd unsettled. Happy New Year.
It's always a Happy New Year when you go into Millwall.
Yeah, I don't disagree with a lot of what we've put there, Mike. I said there, Mike, to be honest with you. I think that sums it up quite nicely, to be honest. Yeah. And he's only got 2 days training with him to get ready for another game, which is fun. Yeah. Any other topics you want to cover from the Stoke City game? I think we just about covered that in 57 minutes worth of detail. Anything you want before we move on? Cool. Paramount UK says Matty dreaming Tony Stewart would faint spending £3 million in one window. Look, I am dreaming. I'm trying to be positive. Let's see what happens.
I mean, to be fair, I faint spending £3 in one shop window, so I know how Tony feels.
Break there. Let's do Huddersfield ref watch first of all. Referee is Jeremy Simpson. Ironically, the last ref us when we played Huddersfield at home this season. Which is strange. I don't know. That's obviously that will have happened at some point in history of football. But feels quite a unique situation where we got the same referee on the reverse fixture. Don't know. Very strange. Don't know. I don't remember anything from the game. Thankfully, that's good. That's good news. I suppose. Danny, what we're looking like? What's your prediction in terms of lineups first of all for the Huddersfield game? Because we know Wiles is Wiles is out. That's what we know. Mm-hmm. We know Hall and Kelly are out. Where else would you go? Let's go from back to front as it starts in goal. Back three. What would you want to see for the back three?
Well, I think we've all basically nailed the colours to the mast and said Woody's probably going to be pulled out. That back three. So I'd probably say keep Humphreys. Actually, no, I might switch it a little. Oh, this is going to be a proper cobbled together back three by the sounds of it. But if we don't have Wood or Hall, then you'd have to probably go potentially Humphreys in the middle or on the right with Peltier, and then maybe McCart as your left-hand sider.
McCart getting a start.
I know. If we've got no Wood or Hall, I can't really see a Doffin being put in as an out centre back because he's definitely more of a sitting midfielder. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go McCart, Peltier, and Humphreys, and make a back three at whatever positions they play at. You know, have fun with that. But it sounds like it's only real thing we could do. Unless you fancy chucking in Jake Cole for a laugh.
Yeah. Just a quick poll on if would you three start Richard Wood? If you had the pick?
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said yeah.
Full house. Sorry, Ben. All right, mate. Take your pairs and calm down.
It's not worth it. Leave it, Ben.
Hey, don't make him come round and pair your house, Matt.
Yeah. So 4 out of 4 would start Richard Wood. No matter what his fitness is, if he can jog a little bit, I'd still start Richard Wood. Give him some game time, because then it allows you freedom to keep Humphreys in there and maybe put McCartney in instead, or put Hacks in there. Move Wes to the right hand side of the three. If you keep Woody in, it gives you loads more freedom in terms of selection issues. This might be the time that sort of forces Taylor's hand to keep him in the team. Don't know. I hope. Move on to the right hand side of the five, Mick. Brook Norton-Cuffy was left out of the squad, almost unbelievably for me. That's almost as baffling as leaving Woody out of the squad last week. Wes had a good game. Don't get me wrong, Wes was brilliant. But to not have Brook Norton-Cuffy on the bench is baffling. So for me, unless there's been a bust-up, which it may well have been, I don't think there will have been, but you don't know, Norton-Cuffy certainly is in the 18 for me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, somebody on Twitter is trying to suggest that there was a bust-up, aren't they? But, you know...
Yeah, but why? There's no reason to leave him out of the squad.
No, it isn't. Absolutely.
The Twitter rumour was that he left him out of the squad, which caused a bust-up, which meant Brook Norton-Cuffy's...
I'm not surprised. At all. That doesn't surprise me at all. I hope that happened. It deserved to happen. Why is he leaving him out of the squad?
Hey,
from what we can see, it appears random, but
I can't argue with that. If his fronted manager up for leaving him out, then quite rightly so. And as a manager, that should not be an issue. As a manager, if a player's going to come to you and say, "Now then, why have you left me out of the squad? I'm not happy with that." Then that is a good thing, not a bad thing. Managers there to, if you're a manager, you're there to be challenged. If you make a decision, you've got to have the balls to stand on and explain why you've made that decision. You don't fall out with people. So I'm not saying that that's happened. I don't think it has. I think that's just your usual Twitter nonsense. But it is a surprise to see him left out of the squad. But we don't know what's gone off. We don't know whether there's something else behind that. Obviously, whether an injury, whether there's an illness.
It might be being told he's been recalled in 4 days' time, whatever it's going to be.
Exactly. None of us know any of this, so we just need to sit back on that one and wait and see, don't we? There's no point. There's no point whatsoever, putting any stall in any rumours, because that's precisely what they are, rumours. So, but if he's fit and available, I have absolutely no explanation as to why he would not be at the very least in the squad.
Yeah. Would you keep Wes though? Because bear in mind he played well.
Yeah, I think he played all right. Wes would be my back three, to be honest.
Chris Taylor says I should have asked him. I was sat at the side of him. Well, we know he didn't storm out at the stadium, and then no one.
Yeah, he's not done a Ladipo where he's been dropped and then just didn't bother turning up at all. So fair enough.
There you go.
That says to me the bust up wasn't really a bust up. It was just why have you left me out? This and other.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I have to be honest though, Chris. I am extremely disappointed that you didn't ask him.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here? Out there.
Excuse me, mate. You look suspiciously like Brook Norton-Cuffy. Yeah, I know I am. It's me. Oh dear.
Any advances on Cohen Bramall, left wing back?
Yeah.
Who else are you going to play there?
That's what I mean.
Maybe Kyoso to shake it up a little bit.
Can't mix and put his boots on, but if not, I'm putting Bramall there.
Kyoso's a right wing back, isn't he?
He can play left.
Same with Cuffy as well, to be fair. Cuffy can play left. And and Fergie as well. Fergie's back. Well, that's good. How did Fergie play, by the way? Because obviously I didn't see it.
It wasn't
about 15 seconds.
Fair enough.
No, I think he put a cross in. I also think he lost the ball sloppily once as well. I'm worried about Fergie. I'm going to lie. I'm worried about Fergie and how he's going to play at this level. Start of the season, he was poor, weren't he? Very poor.
Yeah, just had a bit of an off period. He's championship quality, that lad.
I'm sure he is, but he does concern. As a left wing back, his lack of pace really concerns me. But it's probably going to be Bramall. We'll see. I'm surprised Kiosa didn't come on. If Kiosa were fit, I'm surprised he didn't come on Saturday. Monday. But there we go. But centre of the pitch. Does this pick itself, Ben? Barlaser, Lindsay, Rathbone? Because there's nobody else.
Yeah, there's nobody else.
You don't want to put a Doffin in there, or Scott High can't play. Obviously, the parent club.
No, I wouldn't put a Doffin in there. I think if you're trying to play possession football, a Doffin's not gonna. It's just gonna detract from that. And that's no offense intended. A Doffin, to be honest, what I've seen of a Doffin is a really good player, really good defensive player. So if you want more defensive, I'd put him in because he looks like he's going to do the dirty work kind of thing. But possession football, I don't think he's that kind of player. So
cool. And I suppose leave strikers, Danny. Do you go unchanged? Eves and Chio, or do you say wash, score, wash, have a start?
If we decide to put balls into the box from the first minute, I'd say start Eves. But if we're going to play the exact same we played against Stoke, then I'd start Washington, because then you can have the runners to start with, and then when you do decide to put balls into the box, bring your big man on who might get his head on it. Might be an operative word. But trust, if we don't start Eves, we'll start putting balls into the box from minute one, won't we?
Yeah,
because that's how these things play out, because it's sod's law. But yeah, if all honesty, I would probably go up Benny and Wash. I think bring that partnership back.
Okay, Mick, Chio and Wash.
Either or. I don't have an issue. Probably, I don't know how Huddersfield play, so I don't know what their sort of Achilles heel is, but they've got plenty of them, I think, by the sounds of it. So, whichever way they decide to go, Washington or Eves, but certainly two up front.
Well, I got a choice. We field options we've got. We ain't got a choice.
No, absolutely, yeah.
There we go. That's our just about a roundabout prediction for the lineup. Like we played about 6-7 weeks, so it feels like that anyway. Our record at Huddersfield is obviously poor. 1 win in our last 12 games in Huddersfield. Do you remember when the last victory at Huddersfield was? Go on then.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know what year it were. It was Carrie Arneson.
Carrie Arneson and Connor Salmon.
Yeah.
Connor Salmon. Those are the days.
Wow.
Connor Salmon was, he scored. I think he went on wing. Anyway, different storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, Carrie Arneson's final goal for All United was in that. I think it was 2014. I think could have been 2000. No, it must have been 2015. Anyway, that's our 1 win in the last 12 visits to Huddersfield.
But they've also, when we played them recently, they've been Premier League top end championship, and when we played them recently.
They've been a proper championship team.
This season. Yeah, bar this season, they've been a good team.
Yeah. Well, our home record until this season, our home record against them was horrendous. It was 1 win in 30 something, I think, and we beat them. Mike the Mill says, do we know how many times we've had an unchanged lineup this season? I'll do some digging on that, but I would put money on there have been no unchanged lineups this season.
I think we had one.
Have we?
I think it was.
I think we have had one, yeah.
It was unchanged, I think.
Of course it was after Sheffield United game, because he left Woody out, or a talking point. So maybe one. I'll check see if there's any others, Mike, for the next episode if I remember. But I think there was one. I think that's the one we've had. Score predictions for the Huddersfield game. Nobody obviously got it right. We all predicted wins for the Stoke game. Will we do any better, Benjamin? What do you want to do?
2-1 win.
2-1 win to Rotherham. Danny?
I think we might be in for a goal fest with this one, lads. I think it's going to be a 3-2 win.
Ooh. Would prefer not to have that much stress.
Anyway. No, me either. But yeah, I just have visions of it happening.
Yeah. Carl Scott says, never forget the Wiles miss 5 yards away in the COVID season.
Oh,
One of the many misses that sent us down that season.
Yeah.
That hurts, yeah. Crooksy had one. I think Crooksy hit posted, wasn't it? Same game, I think.
Yeah.
Mick, prediction for Thursday?
Long-awaited clean sheet for Victor. 2-0 Millers.
2-0. You're very positive. Can you really see after the way we've been defending, can you see a clean sheet?
Yeah.
Okay. Incredibly positive. You might as well go for 1-0.
I've got a positive outlook on life.
Okay. I will go 1-1. They won at the weekend. Won on Monday, didn't they? Which is not ideal. But we will see. Kim Hayward says 1-0. Stephen Thomas says 1-1. Tobias thinks it'll be 3 easy points. He goes 3-1 to the Millers. Palmer Duker says 1-2 loss. Thinks our defense will struggle again. Yeah. We saw at our place a few weeks ago that it was a relatively close game, didn't we? They are one of our relegation rivals. That's the blunt way to put it.
6-pointer.
It's Christmas, but it's almost a 6-pointer. Especially you've got Millwall on New Year's Day, or it's a tough place to go. We'll see. All right, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was laughing when you say it's a tough place to go. It's a tough place to go for fans as well.
Yeah. Carl Scott says 2-1 win, but if Woody and Pelt start, it'll be a 3-1 to Huddersfield. Okay. Fair enough, Carl.
Carl. Come on.
Nice to see you covering both sides of that one, Carl. I like it.
I like it. Matt Miller says a clean sheet. Is that the Christmas? Is that Christmas sherry Mick is drinking?
Yes. I'm still on a high from Christmas, Mike. That's all it is.
They got some slipper socks for Christmas, so he's very, very happy.
Little things, mate. Get to my age, little things like that. Cheer you up, no end.
Yeah. There we go. That's the end of the episode. We will be back on Friday night. Friday night episode. I think it was our first ever Friday episode, which is exciting. It's our final episode of the season, so of the year. Sorry. So we'll go through not only what happens on Thursday and preview Millwall. We'll go through highlights of the year for Rotherham United. We'll pick out a couple of podcast highlights as well for the year as well, and laugh at how rubbish and unprofessional we've been over the last 12 months.
I can tell you right now, me being absolutely slozzled after the Chef Wednesday and just eating at McDonald's, that is...
I did think about that one.
That is my highlight, because it's like, oh dear, that is the mistake in early kickoff right there.
Yeah. A couple of bits. We will cover those. Ben may or may not be right with us. We'll try and convince him to come out for the final episode before he buggers off back to go play with
Also, Ben, you've turned into a little bit of a Mariah Carey sort of character. You just come out for Christmas and then you go away again.
I've never been compared to Mariah Carey before.
I should think not, to be honest.
I've got a better voice than her.
Anyway, thank you all for being with us. So we're back then. Please subscribe. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening or watching. That's your Friday night. We will be back. Ben, please do enjoy the pears that I've bought you. Father Christmas brought you, sorry. I'm up in the princess wrapping paper. I don't care if you don't like them or not. They're a Christmas present. You must eat them. Danny, I'm glad to see you feeling better, and I hope you make it to Huddersfield.
Yeah, I hope the bus turns up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And Mick, I hope you enjoy your socks that you've got for Christmas.
Already am.
Hey.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Ravel, vicious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie.